Will council come to order? And will the clerk please call the roll?
Anderson,
Present.
Oliver,
Here.
Ford,
Here.
Hager-Smith,
Here.
Mattingly,
Here.
Sutphen,
Here.
Watson.
Present.
Will the vice mayor please lead us in the
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a short agenda this evening, and we'll begin with the consent agenda. And that has the approval of town council minutes for January 16 and 23. Also, a resolution 2B24, transferring $67,000 between the water and sewer fund capital projects. What is council's pleasure to do with the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Oliver,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Hager-Smith,
Aye.
Mattingly,
Aye.
Sutphen,
Aye.
Watson,
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Moving on to public hearings. Ordinance 2038, an ordinance to amend Town Council Sections 14200, 14201, and 14202, establishing a civil penalty for certain trash violations. And we'll begin with a staff presentation.
Larry Spencer will be making all the presentations tonight.
I'll just keep the bike close. The title may make it sound like it's something a little more grand than it really is, but our current process is really intended for the trash is a kind of a slow moving process where there's trash on a lot. The owner gets a notice, they get time to correct it. There's a process if they don't really think it's a problem, it's an appeal process. This is intended to address situations that are a little bit different, where it's more of a kind of a health hazard and where there's loose trash, most typically out of dumpsters, but also it could be from trash cans. And primarily, this is going to be trash that's in. It's going to usually we find it in apartment complexes. So it's not. I don't want to create the impression that the town is going to be going up and down streets and neighborhoods trying to. It's a situation where, and even if they were, which they wouldn't be, it would start with just a conversation like, hey, you need to, maybe you didn't know this, your trash is loose. And if there's non-compliance after that interaction, it's a maximum fine of $50. So it just fills a little bit of a gap in our current processes.
Do we have any questions for the attorney? I don't see members of the public coming forward to speak during the public comment section. So what is council's pleasure on ordinance 2038?
I move approval of ordinance 2038.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ford,
Aye.
Hager-Smith,
Aye.
Mattingly,
Aye.
Sutphen,
Aye.
Watson,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Oliver.
Aye.
Moving on to ordinance 2440, an ordinance to amend town code to establish a new section 17-315 to prohibit overcrowding in buildings.
So this ordinance brings into the town code a section of the Virginia statewide fire prevention code. So it's already against the law to do this, but by incorporating into the town code, I think one, it brings greater awareness of this issue. And it also, I can enforce it. I could take one of these violations to court, I have some limited prosecution powers. I think it's a good opportunity if the fire code is out there, instead of flipping through the big thick fire code book, they can give them a copy of the ordinance. So this incorporates that provision into the town code. And it's primarily to address some violations that have occurred at certain downtown eateries and drinkeries. So,
Okay. Does anybody on council have further questions? No. This is something we have an opportunity to discuss with our staff each time we have a work session. So council has seen this at a work session before, so.
This was discussed with some of those eateries and drinkeries you referred to, and so
Yes, our fire inspector has done a good job this fall of, and trying to, he's not heavy-handed, but he's getting the word out and taking some actions as he had to.
Thank you. What is council's pleasure to do with ordinance 2040?
I move approval of ordinance 2040.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hager-Smith,
Aye.
Mattingly,
Aye.
Sutphen,
Aye.
Watson,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Oliver,
Aye.
Ford.
We will move on to a resolution 2C24, a resolution authorizing a deed designating portions of town property along Meadowbrook Drive as open space land. And our attorney has the staff presentation.
The core reason that the town is doing this is to, it would permit the town to get a grant, a fairly good-sized grant from the Virginia Outdoor Foundation. Their mission is to, protect and get more open space. In this case, the town is working on a greenway trail on Meadowbrook. I think it would help better serve the the mountain bike facility that's at the end of this project. And so what they want in exchange is the area in question is 4 properties. There's a one at each end that are privately owned. We've already gotten this language inserted into their deeds. The Outdoor Foundation does not want the town to give it a deed, but instead we're taking this step where we're not transferring an interest in land. We are designating formally that the area that's shown in the deed will be forever open space and with a trail upon it. And tonight on the agenda, there was a resolution that had 2 exhibits that showed where these the land where this will take place. There's also a deed of dedication, which had 4 exhibits. And the unwary might have looked at it and said that, gee, these were confusing, but they were developed at different times. So the exhibits make sense for each document. But in case anyone did have any questions, you can give me a call. But it all works, and that's what it will do. And I think this is kind of consistent with what the town wants to have happen there anyway. And I guess finally, if we need to change it, there is a process in the state code where you can move or substitute open space, so we're not locking ourselves in forever like we might with an easement. So I told you everything and probably more that you wanted to know. So.
Thank you. Do we have questions? Okay. What is council's pleasure on resolution 2C24?
I move approval of resolution 2C24.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mattingly,
Aye.
Sutphen,
Aye.
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Oliver,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Hager-Smith.
Aye. We have space for citizen comments, but no citizens this evening. I trust that there are many hundreds at home watching on streaming. Do we have unfinished business? Or new business? Or council announcements? No? Okay. In that event, we are adjourned.